A day to celebrate past Russian successes with old allies. President Vladimir Putin arrived at the Vostochny Cosmodrome in Russia's Far East with Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko to mark 61 years since one of the biggest achievements in Russia's history. April 12, 1961, Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first man in space. A clearly happy memory for the president, who says he still remembers that day as a 9-year-old boy. But the ongoing conflict with Ukraine is still at the top of the agenda for President Putin. Russia's so-called special military operation is now in its second phase, which officials say will focus on the Donbas region of Ukraine. Vladimir Putin also praised Russian troops for what he calls efficiently, courageously, and competently carrying out their operation.
Mr. President, have you seen enough evidence to declare genocide in Ukraine, sir?
Yes, I called it genocide because it's become clearer and clearer that Putin is just trying to wipe out the idea of even being able to be a Ukrainian. And the evidence is mounting. It's different than it was last week. The more evidence is coming out of literally the horrible things that the Russians have done in Ukraine. And we're going to only learn more and more about the devastation. And we'll let the lawyers decide internationally whether or not it qualifies, but it sure seems that way to me.
The presidents of Poland and the Baltic countries are on their way to the Ukrainian capital Kyiv for talks with President Zelensky. Germany's head of state, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, had been planning to go with them. But then he was informed during a visit to Poland that he was not welcome in Kyiv. That's because during Steinmeier's term as foreign minister, he pursued closer relations with Russia. That's a policy which he recently admitted was a mistake.
It was a conscious display of harmony when German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier was welcomed by his Polish counterpart Andrzej Duda. And their plans to travel to Ukraine together were also meant to send the same message. But after the talks, Steinmeier made a shock announcement.
My colleague and friend, Polish President Andrzej Duda, recently suggested that the two of us, together with the presidents of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, travel to Kyiv to send a strong signal of joint European solidarity with Ukraine. I was ready to do that, but apparently that was not wanted by Kyiv, and I have to acknowledge that.
8:30 a.m. and the moment panic struck on a New York City subway train. Confusion turning to sheer nightmare as it became clear shots were being fired in the middle of a morning commute. At the next station, terrified passengers poured out of the carriages, some obviously struggling with wounds. Amid the stampede, it appears the suspect managed to escape. Late Tuesday, police released this picture of 62-year-old Frank James. Police say he's a person of interest and are asking for the public's help trying to find him. A rented van in his name was found abandoned near the crime scene.
A dangerous trade, officials worry, is fueling violence in Colombia. Mexican drug cartels appear to be shipping high-powered weapons in exchange for shipments of cocaine from Colombian traffickers. A bevy of machine guns, assault rifles, and semi-automatic handguns are flowing into the South American country. A dozen Colombian law enforcement officials told Reuters, fueling the already deadly struggle between rival traffickers for control of Colombia's drug routes. General Fernando Murillo, the head of the investigative division of Colombia's National Police, says paying coke suppliers with weapons rather than bulky cash helps Mexican cartels launder profits.
After years of waiting, the mood in Indonesia's People's Representative Council was one of celebration. There's no place for sexual violence, House Speaker Puan Maharani declared as legislators passed a highly anticipated bill into law, which aims to create a better legal framework for victims of sexual abuse to secure justice.
The death toll in South Africa continues to rise as the country is being hit by torrential rains and damaging flooding. According to local authorities, at least 60 people have now perished in the KwaZulu-Natal province in the southeast. More heavy rainfall was predicted on Tuesday night, adding possible additional chaos, and residents were asked to avoid all travel. Torrents have already cut off many roads, collapsed houses and bridges. Submerged cars and stockpiles of containers have been seen floating, including in the province's largest city, Durban. South Africa's army has been deployed to participate in rescue operations as residents, including school children, were trapped for several hours because of the rising waters.
British Prime Minister has apologised for breaking COVID lockdown rules, but he denies doing it on purpose. Boris Johnson and Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, received some of the dozens of fines issued by London's Metropolitan Police for attending illegal parties in government buildings during lockdowns. One of those gatherings was held on the Prime Minister's birthday. He and his wife say they have both paid their fines and the amounts have not been revealed. Boris Johnson has so far deflected demands for his resignation.
A new variant of COVID-19 has been discovered in Botswana. It's believed to be a mutation of the Omicron variant first detected in southern Africa late last year. The variant they're watching, called Omicron BA.4 and BA.5, has already been detected in 3 other countries and on 4 people in Botswana. All 4 cases are currently being followed up to gather more information on the potential impact on the spread and the severity of the disease.